the Tuesday evening edition of Sticks and Skins. Dr. Dungan and Lawrence Foster here with you, ready to talk about the Buffalo Bills and how sad we are. Hello, Lawrence.
Yes, we were happy football was back. It was nice watching football Sunday without getting angry. So, the way the Bills game turned out, I'm very happy that I had Sunday without the Bills game because Monday night was terrible.
Terrible.
Like one of the worst losses I can remember. I think the worst loss in regular season for Sean McDermott, all things considered. Uh,
Yeah.
it fell apart, and like if you would have said the reason we lose is 17, I definitely would not have thought that would be how we lose game one
Yeah. For me,
with
before, I mean,
because of Josh.
yeah, four turnovers, man, and at least one of them, if not two of them, was there was points on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Oh yeah, like the first one where he threw it, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's not a bad one; it's a punt." Like if you go back and look at that play, A, he had a lot of room to run to get into field goal range,
yeah,
or B, Knox has two steps on a linebacker down the sideline he's rolling to. But his choice is to throw it up to Hardy in the double coverage.
yeah, no, the picks were inexcusable. Even the fumble, right? Like,
Mm-hmm. That was
secure
a
the
mental
ball.
mistake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you don't have to just secure the ball first.
And I think like Josh is going to be getting a lot of the rightful flack from this game, and but a lot of people will also be going like, "Hey, like it's Dorsey's fault." I don't necessarily know if that's the case. Yeah, like there are some things like every single team has plays they'd like to have back, but like you just said, if you look at how the game went, and I went back and looked at some of the stuff. Those turnovers had plays that continued drives happening at it. So it was designed well enough to have first down yardage gained, but
Hmm.
it just didn't happen because of the quarterback's decision. And then another easily forgotten piece was on our last field goal drive before the last drive of the game. Uh, Cook beats a linebacker easily, and Josh kind of line drives it instead. And like you could see Cook after like the pass pointing in the air saying, "Give me some air under that."
Yeah,
So like it just wasn't a good overall game for Josh. Even like on a incompletion, like that should have been a touchdown, and like that game's completely different. The Jets are down 17-3 instead of 13-3. And the mindset of losing Aaron Rodgers at that point, being down two touchdowns, like mindset is a big deal. So I think little things like that are going to be forgotten, but are just as much of a reason we lost.
yeah. And then that Brees Hall run where Jordan Poyer is another one. I mean, if
Mm.
Josh is it on the offense, Poyer and or the middle linebacker are it on defense because that I don't know, he just looked slow. He looked like he didn't know what he was doing, and he just got roasted, and that led to their only touchdown.
Yeah, 100%. And we saw that in the preseason when Warren busted his
Steelers,
big
yeah,
run on us. Yeah,
yeah,
Poyer looked slow.
yeah, he
We
looks
both
really
said it,
slow.
and like if like teams that have speed, are going to be really tough for us with what we have. It was
Yeah.
nice to see Benford actually be able to chase down Hall
Hmm.
because I don't think anybody on the defense was going to come near him. But I'm like, all right, at least we have somebody with speed on this team.
Yeah,
That's
and
something you and I have talked about all offseason, this Poyer. That.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would have much rather had Edmonds back than Poyer. Okay, because as it stands right now, it feels like we need to run dime the entire time and have Wrap in
Mm-hmm.
as like our pseudo middle linebacker because middle linebacker cannot cover any
No.
of them. I mean, this isn't a knock on Bernard, and I'll give him some grace just because he was hurt for a while. He missed a few games, so he could be a little rusty, but it was not a great game for him. And yeah, Poyer, dude, like at some point, I mean, granted, it's 1 week, but it just seems to be more and more consistent of him just getting torched. And it might, this if it continues, right? I mean, I think Miami is going to be that test. If he absolutely gets destroyed, it's going to
Yeah,
be, all right, dude, like you're going to have to take a seat.
yeah. I mean, you look at what Miami did to the Chargers Sunday, like with their crossing patterns and open. Like, are our safeties going to be able to make that open field tackle when they're running at an angle like that? Like, we don't have Edmonds anymore there to kind of patrol the middle and make throwing lanes a little harder
Hmm.
to work. So yeah, it was a disappointing game overall. Without like, there are highlights though. Like Leonard Floyd looked the part of what we signed him to do.
Hmm.
1.5 sacks, multiple quarterback pressures, hits in the on the quarterback. Like, so he is a solid signing that I feel better about now, not having Vaughn, because we talked last week about wishing we had him. Floyd, and then Rousseau had him like, again, like
Yeah.
he couldn't get there to close sack, but like how much pressure, like how much was he in the backfield on Monday night?
Yeah, no, I mean, our D line looked good. I mean, outside of that one run, which even that was more Tre'Davious White missing a tackle
Mm-hmm.
than it was the D line. Not that Trey played poorly, but I mean that's what that was. But I thought our D line played great. I was really
Yeah,
happy with them and our cornerback play.
yeah, like we have like, I mean, you would hope that with all the investment we put in the D line that that would be a strength of our team,
Hmm.
because we have spent so many draft picks and free agency money on that position. We need to have production from that.
Yes.
So that was nice to see. And like you said, like yeah, like aside from one or two like big runs, we stymied the running game pretty well. We kept constant pressure on the quarterback, whether it was Rodgers or Wilson. And I know we came from TikTok live, and I heard you mention something along the lines of it's, and the frustrating part of the game is it's not like the Jets beat us. Like you mentioned, like yeah, they have a great defense, but the plays they made, any defense could make,
Hmm.
and that was the frustrating part to me.
Yes. And that was a game that we should not have lost. Again, like, as fans, we can be pissed. I'm sure Josh is way more mad because he was the one who actually did it. And also something that's relatively underrated is the fact that, like, say what you want about Stephon Diggs and his relationship with Josh, I think it's very clear that their relationship is fine because he was there trying to get him out of the funk. He
Mm-hmm.
knows him. He knows him much better than you and I and really anybody else does. And so he's just trying to help him. He's like, yo, man, it's all right. Like, we'll go out there and get it. And they did. They went out and got the field goal for which Tyler Bass, whew, man, way to make me
Right.
sweat. Doink.
Yeah.
Um,
It's so hard to tell when it doinks, like if it goes through or not by the with the TV angle.
yeah.
Like on long field goals, they should like have an angle that's right down the back of the end line.
Hmm.
So then, like split it. Let's see it, and then if like see the crossbar so we can see if it goes through.
I think that's just
But
part of the suspense.
yeah, yeah, we have to wait for the referee's arms to go up. But yeah, and Diggs, like yeah, his relationship with Josh is fine, but I still wonder about his relationship with Dorsey, because for a huge stretch of time, like where was Diggs in that game? We
Yeah.
started going to him, and then we kind of went away from it till we absolutely had to go to him. And guess what happened? Like when we went back to Diggs in crunch time, plays were made.
Yeah. Because, no, you're right. Because you look at, we'll just use the Dolphins. Like, they go to Tyreek Hill, like, all the time. And granted, Hill has a different
Mm-hmm.
skill set than Diggs. It's just like, yeah, or Justin Jefferson, or just, you name a big name receiver, and they're just fed and fed and fed. Granted, JJ was sort of shut out of the second half, and I can't help but think too, Foster, that some of that is scheme or something. They're just like, you know what, we are not going to let this guy beat us anymore. Okay, he's going to have to find
Mm-hmm.
somebody else. And as you said, Josh could have found somebody else, but he just made some bad reads and bad calls. It's like he, I know people said this a lot, and I never really believed it until sort of now. It's just like he only has so much patience, and then he can't help
Hmm.
himself. He has to uncork it,
Yeah, well,
right?
it's
I mean,
patience in terms of not just passing. Like it's like he thinks he has to do everything every single play.
mhm,
Like everyone always loves Josh hurdling. That hurdle he did yesterday was not good at all.
yeah,
You're nowhere near the
ill-advised.
first down marker.
Yeah,
You just saw Aaron Rodgers destroy his leg.
and you saw
But
Sean too. Sean
again,
was just pointing his head and just
yeah.
saying like, "Be smart."
And I don't know if you saw it like at the end of the game after the punt return. I don't know if I've ever seen McDermott just look as pissed as he did walking off the field because they showed him very briefly, and he just his. I don't know if I've ever seen him as mad as I did there.
Good though, right? I mean, in a way,
Right? No, no,
yeah.
like that's what I said is good. Yeah, good thing.
Like Josh is your superstar quarterback. Was like, listen, man, like you're tonight, you were a liability, and you cost us the game. The defense played well; they did their job. You cost us the game, and I know he
Yeah,
doesn't need to be told that, but at some point, it's just like, be you, but just be a smarter version of you. You can read
yeah.
defenses, you can make all the throws, you have all the athletic talent. Be
Hmm.
smarter.
And I mean, considering the defensive line we played, like the offensive line held up
Yeah. No,
decently well.
and I'm with you. Like there's a lot to like about this game. There really is. Like sure, it's outshadowed by loss, and again, I know we always talk about this every year in terms of, oh, well, that's one that we're going to want to have back at the end, right? Like we're going to look at either we're not going to get the number one seed or we'll miss the playoffs by a
Hmm.
game. Like, yep, that just, I hope not, right? I mean, I hope that we can
Yeah.
get the number one seed or something like that. And it's going to be, you know what? It
And
was a good loss because it refocused the team. But yeah, I don't know.
but
Because
but
yeah,
we talked about some go to the game. We already mentioned Poyer and stuff. We haven't talked about Cook yet. I thought Cook like all the parts of what you would a modern
yeah.
day number one back to look like.
Yeah, no, agreed. I mean, I really liked Cook. I mean, I think you and I both have liked Cook, but no, I mean, he looked good. I mean, I wish that he would have gotten a little bit more action.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to pull up his stats right now.
But they also had, like he was a big part of the passing game.
Yeah, because yeah, I mean, he didn't have a ton of carries, but he had six targets, and he probably should have had a touchdown, as we talked earlier. But no, I mean, I
Hmm.
like Cook. I think he's explosive. Um, and yeah, it's just, gosh, looking at Josh's stat line, one touchdown, three picks, five sacks.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he had sacked that many times, but it was just because he either
Oh, and a
couldn't.
couple of them count as those ones like where he tried to move up and run and he was tripped up before the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
So that's why I like he had the 5 sacks on paper looks bad, but at least two of them were the variety of like Josh is trying to run and he just gets caught.
yeah,
So that's I don't put that on the and with that defensive line they're gonna make a play or two. But Spencer Brown is a liability.
yeah,
Like
he
he got
is.
beat so many times, then he makes a boneheaded play in overtime, a false start, and puts us in a hole. And then the special teams has their worst play of the day at the worst possible time.
I know, right? That punt was miserable, and then, gosh, not the way. I mean, it's it's like without a fail, right? Whether it's that Garrett Wilson touchdown catch that was amazing, or that
Yeah.
walk off punt return. It's like when we lose in extraordinary fashion.
Yep. Every year it seems like when we talk about games of the year and like best endings of games, we're on the losing end of that.
I mean, because yeah, we had a doink to go and get into overtime, and then a walk off punt return. Like there's so
Yeah.
few punt returns nowadays. Like at least
Right.
ones for like touchdowns. That
Yeah, and
of
Jay
course.
Feely, like like the special teams guy for CBS,
Hmm.
former kicker, said that like the punt was set up a certain way that Martin kicked it on the opposite side of the way the coverage was supposed to go.
Of course.
So it was a poor punt in that way. And then because that's why like everyone was out of position kind of was because that's not the way the punt was supposed to go. It was designed for it to be funneled in the way, and then he kicked it to the other side of the field where it was not designed to go, and then those mistakes lead to what happened.
Losses. Yeah.
But that's the Bills in a recap from last night, Monday Night Football. Uh, I feel bad for Aaron Rodgers. Like 4 plays into his tenure as a Jet, his season is done. It's eerily
Yeah.
similar to what happened to Vinny Testaverde back, what, '99 season after they went to the AFC Championship game, big expectations, and then Vinny does his Achilles week 1. And that's like that one where Keyshawn Johnson after the game was crying and everything because of what happened.
Mhm.
But yeah, Jets want to know, Dolphins want to know, and Patriots and Bills 0-1.
Yeah. Although we do have the Raiders this week, so that
It
should be a
should be a
nice
bounce back game
get right game. Yeah.
in theory. I would like to see us not let Josh Jacobs have big rushes and just do what we did most of the game.
I would
Although
love.
Devontae Adams does worry me.
Well, their quarterback doesn't.
No, if we can pressure Garoppolo like we did Wilson, we'll be fine because like Wilson has some escapability and stuff, whereas Garoppolo, I think we can kind of pin him back.
Yeah. I just, man, I know we say this every time, but it'd be nice for Josh to have a no turnover bounce back game.
Yes, a no turnover bounce back game. I like to see some of the more receivers involved in the passing game.
Yeah.
When you look at the Bills' top catchers, uh, Hardy had 3 catches, Gabe Davis 2. So wide receivers other than Diggs had 5 combined receptions.
Yeah.
Like Sherfield, who I thought would be like, I don't know, I don't want to look at the snap count, but he was invisible. I like to see Kincaid get more involved in the passing game.
Mhm.
But yeah, that is what it is. Uh, Other games,
Yeah.
keeping the AFC East quick. Miami's defense looked terrible, but
Their
their
offense.
offense, oh, you forget like what it was before two got hurt last year. Like when he's healthy, that offense just hums like none other in the league right now. It's
Yeah.
scary.
They put up points fast.
And like they did that like with still like a pretty poor running game. It's like it seems simple in theory, like when you just see like where the Dolphin receivers catch the ball and like I mean but like the way they scheme it must just like really confuse defenses because
Mhm.
it's like Hill on digs and stuff like all day long and it's just wide open.
It's because he's so fast too. But
Ugh.
that being said, I mean, and you said it during the game, but like Tua underthrows a lot of deep balls,
Mm-hmm.
and so granted, it didn't really cost them this past week, but I can see that costing them in the future.
Yeah, make him throw it deep. He had a couple nice deep throws, but he should have had a couple of interceptions.
Yep.
That just
Yeah.
like Josh is wishing he had that luck on some of the throws he made
Oh my
last
gosh.
night.
Rainmaker, let it
Kind of, yeah.
rain.
Uh, so Dolphins offensively very impressive. Uh, Maybe arguably the most impressive overall performance considering opponent. I would argue would be San Francisco just laying the wood
Mhm.
on Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Now that was in Pickett, right? Like if you invested in Pickett cards, ooh, careful. Because
Uh,
preseason Pickett and regular season Pickett are not matching up. Talk about a guy who needs a bounce back game. He is that guy. He needs one because you're right. They did not play well. And granted, the Niners defense is really good. Um,
But yeah, and did I don't know if you saw today that there was questions about whether Pickett should have even been playing most of that game.
why?
They showed like a hit he took where his head just snapped back and hit the turf, and that was like on the second drive of the game, and he was never checked, which I can't believe happened in today's NFL.
Well, I'll, I'll say this. Granted, his mindset could have changed since then, but I know last year he got his bell rung and he pulled himself out.
Yeah, and I saw that on Twitter today. I'm like, I think it was Pro Football Talk was like, why was this not like checked? And I sound like, oh, that was kind of yeah. So not to make excuses, but
Yeah, no, he could have been, wading through the clouds as he tries to find himself. Ah, Kenny
and because he has
Pickett.
a history of it,
Yeah,
so it's easier when it's more susceptible. But
yeah,
like I put them above the Cowboys' performance just because I think you're in the same boat as I am. I don't think the Giants are that good of a team.
no,
Daniel Jones I think peaked last year. Their defense I don't think has very many playmakers. So that's why I
yeah,
put like everybody like, oh well, Dallas 40 and like nah. Considering
no.
opponent, like the Steelers defense is still pretty good. So
And I guess I'll bring up another one for which I think this is probably less. Cause I want to talk about Dallas. They beat the Giants. Okay, great. Let's see what happens next week. Um, because who does Dallas play next week?
the Jets
Yeah. So I guess we'll just see how Dak does against that
defense,
defense.
yes,
Um,
yeah,
but no, I want to give a shout out to Jordan Love. I mean,
mm-hmm.
stepping in for Aaron Rodgers, and he played pretty well at 250 or 245, three touchdowns, no interceptions, and they
Yep.
are still the father of the Bears. Justin Fields is not good because I mean essentially the Packers shut down the screen game, and if you can't throw and screens are your baby, well, there's that. DJ Moore, the guy they gave up a lot of that first overall pick for, and a couple of first round picks, but he did next to nothing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean
But you
Fields
wonder how
was
much of that was Fields.
no, and that's just it, right? Like Fields is going to get his head coach and his GM fired. They went
Mm-hmm.
all in on you, and you, again, after one game, have not produced. Okay, you continue this trend of being beaten by this team, and it's just, I don't know. And you were at home,
Yeah.
right? Like it's a
Imagine being
difference.
a Bears fan right now.
Oh man, yeah, I can't. Like for them, I'm sure like our season isn't over.
No.
As a Bears fan, I would likely be reaching for the barrel right now, just because it's not good. So yeah, I mean, but good on Jordan Love again for filling in for huge shoes, um, and the Bears defense, Bears, the Packers defense harassing Fields all day, sacked him four times, picked him off once. So yeah,
Yeah. And while you're on that game, weird stat line. AJ Dillon, 13 rushes, 19 yards.
dang. Actually,
Yeah.
there was another. Yeah, that's not the best. There was another game. Oh my gosh, that I was looking at earlier for which the running back. Come on, let me find it. The running back had a ton of carries, but like 20. It was the Rams, I believe. Let me.
Was it
Yes,
Akers?
Akers, 22 carries for 29 yards.
Good
Dang.
lord.
And he had a long of 12
Man, so those other 21 rushes
for
were for
17
17.
yards.
Wow.
Yuck. And a tutty. Yeah, no, I can't imagine just. Uh, whereas the other back had 15 carries for 52 yards. So still
Mm-hmm.
collectively 40 as a team, 40 carries for 92 yards. Not
2.3 a carry.
not a super efficient day But yeah, I saw that. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. 29. You beat yourself up for 29
Yeah,
yards.
and it's 1 week, like you said earlier. But how about a shout out to Stafford not having Cooper Cup? Nobody expecting him to do anything but compete for the number one spot, and they go to Seattle,
Yeah. Tutu
and
Atwell and Puka something both had
yeah,
119 yards. Yeah, no, he was
right.
feeding them.
And then you look at Gino, who you and I talked about.
Yep, same
Uh,
thing.
yeah, little
Bears,
buyer's
Seahawks,
remorse, I would say,
Giants.
week one.
All people that I mean, we and a lot of other people knew. Like, what are you doing, right? Like, there's enough of a sample size to know this guy can't play. But teams are
Yeah,
so desperate, and they're just like, please, please, and no, sorry. Again, yeah, 1 week, but there's a reason why Gino's a 30-something-year-old journeyman.
yeah,
You don't just get
and like,
great.
and he tailed off at the end of last year.
Yes.
So to me, this is a continuation of the second half of last year into this. So we'll see how that goes. But Rams, like, I didn't have them beating Seattle by 17 in Seattle.
No, I did not
That's a
either.
nice win for them to start the year.
I don't
Was there any other games that you saw that you like? We said Washington Arizona would be terrible. It was. You and I were.
Yeah.
But props to you. We had one difference in opinion of game picks last week, and you
Let's go,
were
baby.
correct on that with uh,
Baker.
the Bucks somehow winning.
It's through skill and great knowledge of my own, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was terrible. Joe Burrow, right? Like let's give him some hate because I'm not giving Watson any love. He didn't play great, but Joe Burrow played like you would expect the highest paid player in the NFL, like absolute garbage. And
Mm-hmm.
sure, we could make an excuse for him, say, oh, it rained a lot and whatever else. I don't give an F, right? Like D- Allen wouldn't get that excuse, so Burrow doesn't either. Okay, you suit up, you go out there and you play, and what? You leave us with where's that box score at? You leave us with 14 to 31, so less than 50% completion for
Mm-hmm.
82 yards. You're only sacked twice, whereas your counterpart on the other side had a better completion percentage, almost double passing yards, had a touchdown and a pick. He also had a rushing touchdown. Like I have no love for Deshaun Watson at all, but he outplayed Burrow the entire game. So yeah, let's have a little bit of a hate for Joe B because so far, and granted, this is how they started last year. They started slow, but this is a bad loss for them. This is a bad loss.
Yeah, and the Bengals are like the Browns are the Bengals' bugaboo.
Hmm.
Burrow, I think, is 1-5 against them in his career.
What?
Like there's certain like the Dolphins always being able to beat the Patriots, like even with Tom Brady.
Yeah,
Like there's just certain teams that do not play well against certain, and that
it's wild to me though.
yeah. So heading into yesterday's game, he was 1-4. So now he is 1-5 against the Browns,
Sick.
and he plays well. Like he's good record against the other quote unquote harder teams in his division. So that's why like we'll see if just like Josh doesn't play well against this defense of the Jets. So, like, is it just a case of this team knows how to play him? So, like, a bounce back for Burrow this week, or and a bounce back for Josh because they're playing not their kryptonite teams.
Yeah, in a way, it sucks that we're already there, like week two, and all right, let's have a bounce back game.
Yeah,
I
but
forget what was the game early last year that we lost that we didn't anticipate.
we lost Miami.
Yeah,
And then we only I mean we only lost to them, the
the
Ravens,
Jets,
yeah, and not the Ravens, the Vikings and the Jets. So it's either Miami or the Jets.
probably Miami.
Yeah, because we were 2-0 headed into that game, and then
Yeah,
we had cramps all over. Gabe Davis dropped a contested catch in the end zone.
yeah,
McKenzie couldn't get out of bounds. Dorsey flipped his lid and then already talked about it from the press box.
Yeah. Now I remember, but yeah.
Remember. So
All
that's
right.
our football recap of the week.
What's the one
Friday we'll
game?
do our. Oh yeah, we can talk about the Thursday night game quick. Vikings and Eagles
Who
this
do you got,
Thursday.
Lawrence?
Let me see where it's at. I don't know, it doesn't matter where it's at. The Eagles are
It's
gonna win.
at Philly. What's that?
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't matter where it is. It's prime time, which is not Kirk's time, and yeah, I think the Eagles win.
I disagree. I believe the Vikings will win this one. I know Philly's had a great record. You know, they haven't lost many games the last season up to now, but they did not look super awesome against the Patriots. I don't know. I believe in Kirk Cousins. Um, and I just think the Bucks have a really good defense as well. Not that the Philly doesn't, but I got the Vikings pulling an upset in Philadelphia.
All right, so one game predicted and one difference already. Friday night we will go through and do our predictions for the rest of the week.
Well, what's the one game that you're looking forward to on Sunday, other than ours?
I'm not really looking forward to that. Uh, what do we got on the schedule? No, not that one. It was gonna be that one, but not Jets. Dallas with Rodgers would have been interesting, but no. Kansas City,
I
Jacksonville.
was gonna say
That's a good
there's
one.
I think at least two early games that ought to be pretty good. That one,
What's the other one?
Baltimore and Cincinnati.
Yeah, that should be pretty decent. Yeah. Talk about bounce backs. Like, is Seattle gonna bounce back against Detroit? Does Detroit have a letdown after the emotional Week 1 win? Bears Bucks. Ugh, that's ugly. Tampa Bay should win that one.
Yeah.
We
This
have our rookie quarterback matchup early. Colts Texans. Richardson Stroud.
yuck. Yeah, there is a lot of games that are just gonna be garbage. Like the first Monday night game, Saints Panthers. Yuck. Washington Denver.
I think Miami New England is going to be an underrated game on Sunday Night
Yes,
Football.
yes. I was actually gonna say if I wasn't gonna pick the Baltimore game, that would be the other one, just because the Belichick defense. If anyone can slow down Tua, it's them. And
Mm-hmm.
all right, Mac. Their defense is a bit porous. Can you take advantage of it? Because other than that, pick six. Because that was a tip ball, right? That pick six that Mac threw.
Yeah, it was tipped.
Yeah. So I mean, I think Mac Jones played pretty well, honestly.
He did.
So
Yeah.
I can see New England winning that game. How about Giants Cardinals? Can't wait to tune into that
Yeah.
one.
I think pretty much any Cardinals game is going to be like, all right, we don't need to watch that one.
Giants
And
looking
then the
for
other
their
one,
first points of the season.
right? Week 2. And then I think that second Monday night game should be an important game just to see, like, is Pittsburgh as bad as they look? Is Pickett going to continue to play poorly?
Hmm.
And can the Browns carry any momentum? Because, I mean, even when they're poor, they somehow beat the Bengals. So
Right.
can you beat someone else in the division now? Yeah. I mean, I personally hope the Steelers win because I want to see Watson just get like absolutely crushed and demolished and suck real
Yes.
bad on a national stage. That would be amazing
Yes.
because he's a terrible person.
The
So
milk's gone
I
bad.
hope the Steelers win. I don't want to. I feel
Same.
bad for like players I like on the Browns. Like I like Chubb, I like Miles Garrett. They're good
Same.
football players who, but it's just unfortunate for them they have Watson on their team.
Yep. Can I tell you,
So
low key, it's a little annoying when. So I just got an email from a student. I looked over. I hate when they call me Mister. Like, I don't like being called doctor, but if you're gonna give me a title, not not Mister. Anyways, total aside. Like, oh, Mr. Duncan, sorry I missed class today. One, no, you're not. Two, it's doctor. Thanks. Um, Anywho,
Yeah. Says he who gave himself a Dr. D on our TikTok.
it's because it sells.
No, it's just funny. He's like I don't care about titles, but call me Dr. D on TikTok. But I don't care about
Right.
title.
Shut your mouth.
It is funny. Speaking of TikTok, at some point we'll be having Dr. D's break. Uh,
For real.
so if you're watching this on YouTube after it gets posted, it is Tuesday right now. Our break, I don't know when we're gonna do Corey's. Probably have to be Saturday again.
Well, I'm gonna try to fill it on Thursday night.
Okay, so we can try that. And then I'll be doing my break Saturday with three hobby boxes. Our first hobby box will be broke, and then Score Blaster. Don't sleep on Score. Score
Are you
provides some
doing
neat.
pick your team or pick your spot?
Uh, we're gonna try to pick your team. I like to pick your spot just because it's offers a chance to get some of the more expensive ones. I know we didn't sell it this week as well, but we also didn't do what we had been doing in terms of when we
Right. Yeah.
did the break, and then we also had other issues that limited who could see what we were doing.
Yeah.
So it's
Gosh, that was annoying.
like do we go this way or because like I also see like breakers who were online for like 6 7 hours pick your team and just they're not selling it. But that's also with prices in the couple $100 range.
Yeah, I'll never
Our
go
most
there.
expensive team like $60,
Yeah.
a little bit different.
All
But
right.
yeah, I did start Starfield this week. Uh, it is fun. I am with you in terms of I'm picking up a lot of stuff from the ground. Uh, but like I always do that just so when I hit the first shop, I can sell a bunch of stuff and get have some money on me
Yeah.
to do
One thing
things.
that I'll say that I like about that is that I hate in Skyrim and whatnot, like it would slow you down. At least this, you consume your oxygen a little bit more, but you can still move at the same speed.
Oh, that's I haven't got to that point yet, so that is nice.
Oh,
No, I mean it's not a spoiler, but like that is nice to know. Like, yeah, being over encumbered made you not be able to essentially move.
you still
So it's
can't
nice
fast
that that's not
travel,
a case.
and also you always have a companion, and you can load them up.
Oh, that robot, yeah, that robot.
Or the
I'll tell
robot, you
you,
get
like
various people.
a few times, like that robot freaks me out. Like I'm looking at something kind of in a dark place, and I hear like mech legs. Like, oh my god, what is? I'm like, oh, it's my guy.
Mech legs. Right there,
Yeah,
mech legs. What are you doing?
the lock picking system is a lot different.
I like it though, because it makes, I don't
It
know.
is.
I like the mental aspect, especially when you get to the harder ones, because some of the little things aren't used, and so like in my head, I have to like fit this puzzle together.
See, I've only done a couple easy ones, so
Yeah,
it seems like everyone is used at least early on. Like every spot is used.
yeah, but I think once you get to expert and master, you have like one or two or maybe even
That
more
aren't.
that like you just don't use.
Yeah. So yeah, it is like it used to be a little like you essentially just felt the joystick, but now it is actually like a little puzzle. So that is a fun aspect.
Yeah.
I have not figured out. Maybe there is a way. Like I can't figure out how to hotkey weapons.
Oh, you just hit favorite.
Oh, favorite makes them go into the D-pad.
Yep, and then you get to
Oh,
choose
and
where it goes.
okay. See, I thought like it was just a favorite, so I don't sell it, so I never marked it.
That's what I thought
See,
at first too, because I was like, what the hell? And then I'm just like, I wonder if it's favorite, and it was.
all right, so I'm glad you told me that because like it got frustrating. Like if I wanted to use the axe, like try to hit somebody from behind sneaking up. I'm like, all right, now I got to pause the game, go into the menu, switch
Yeah,
back to my pistol.
yeah. No,
all
I felt the same. I was like, there's got to be a way, because this is annoyingly stupid. Like
right, so
this alone.
that's good to know.
Yeah,
I do like that right off the bat. There's like three tiers of your D-pad though, so you can like have a lot of things already favorited on
yeah.
there.
I found though, I don't find a ton of the like health packs, like the one that do like 15% or whatever.
At the beginning, oh, I'm only at the like in the first 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, you
So
find a
afterwards, they
bunch.
become hard to find.
Yeah, and you really need to like, oh look, there's a half-eaten sandwich. Okay, I'll take that. Oh look, there's some cheese
Yeah,
blocks. Okay, sure.
they love their blocks of food in Bethesda games.
Yeah.
I found like chicken chunks. Like, all right, that's a Bethesda staple right there.
Chicken chunks.
But like, I'm spending so much time in all the science labs making sure I find any books that don't have any like hidden XP boosts in them. And
The other thing too, I'm sure you run into one is like there's like um, gosh, like back in the day, it used to be the bobbleheads, but now it's like these little
yeah,
colorful pieces of paper.
I've not seen one yet.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe I missed it.
I found two. One was in a side mission, and I'm just saying like keeping it because they're usually on like desks and stuff. It's just like a colorful looking piece of
Nice.
paper.
So that's the new bobblehead.
Yeah.
Good to know. Now Starfield's a lot of fun. Um, so I'm not agreeing with the reviewers' main negative points about it starts slow. I'm like, I'm enjoying what's happening right now.
Yeah.
I did not like the dogfight. The first dogfight that I had to do in this, like, it took me for like I could not track the ships very well.
So I find that whenever like they're coming at you and you fly by, slow down, like push down on the left joystick and then like rotate and you rotate a lot faster. If you're going fast, it takes you forever to like rotate around.
Maybe yeah, maybe that's what it is then.
So slow down, you rotate faster, and then it's lasers to knock out the shield, and then use like your actual gun and missiles to go and do hull damage.
Yeah, I'll try that then. And then at some point, I did get Baldur's Gate.
Hmm.
So you and I will be playing that one.
Baldur's Gate.
Emphasis on the first syllable.
Balls. Yeah, like testicles.
well,
I was killing a mouse today, and I was like, huh, you can tell that this is a dude. She's like, how? I'm like, you know, we usually sex them based on their genitalia, and this one has huge balls, so that's how. Oh, right.
right. Silly me. All right.
Yeah.
So before I'm looking at the college football schedule, see if there's
Oh,
anything.
right, college football. Yeah, I know you and I like NFL way
Well,
or
because we
a
have
lot
so
more.
many weeks like this week, like there's nothing.
I mean,
Like
even last week there was like one game that was like worth
yeah,
watching.
that was
Um,
yeah. Like I didn't even watch Ohio State. Like I watched like a quarter and a half. Like yeah, this is not
we
enjoyable.
got some undefeated matchups. Kansas State versus Missouri. Weber
Um,
State versus Utah.
oh, I didn't know Alabama is going to be playing South Florida in Tampa Saturday.
I know,
The
right?
tickets are $14.
Yeah.
I would never go out in the heat and sit and watch that. But I mean, for where I live, like USF is like very popular school, so that's awesome that they get to have like an ABC game against Bama. Good for them.
I mean, I guess Tennessee at Florida. Florida hasn't played great, but you know they're at home
Yeah,
against Tennessee, and I guess we'll see. But yeah, no, you're right. There is not much going on.
yeah. Actually, that was the one game like I do want to watch was Tennessee Florida,
Yeah. Now
just
the
because I haven't got to
following
watch
week,
Tennessee this year.
yeah, the following week there's a lot of ranked games. Colorado, Oregon. Assuming Colorado wins this week, should be a good one. Yes, week 4 in
Ohio
college
State Notre
football.
Dame is next week.
Yeah, UCLA, Utah, Oregon. I'm just looking at the ranked teams playing each other.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
next week is the
Yeah, I mean that should be like that would be week 4 for college. They should be into the meat of their schedule and away from the non-conference cupcakes. I
Texas
mean, you got your normal
comes
cupcakes.
to Baylor.
That's next week as well.
Um, that's week 4. Well, tickets are
Texas
super
at Baylor.
expensive to watch Baylor get trounced, so I'll see if I
I
can get
didn't
some free
realize
ones.
like how badly Baylor lost. like I didn't realize they were up by as much as they were as late as they were, and they
Oh my
somehow
God, no, it
lost
was
against
all.
Utah.
Yeah, that's why I said like I'll get on after the game. So I'm like, oh look, they might actually pull this off, and then you just felt it coming. Like, nope, this is not gonna happen. And so I'm like, I'm not a Blake Shapen lover, um, but that dude is considerably better than the guy they have right now. So if Shapen is not playing, Baylor has no chance. It's going to be how bad do they lose? Do they lose by 10 or is it by 30?
Yeah, I mean, if you could get cheaper, like decent tickets, that'd be a fun one just to experience the atmosphere in the first quarter while the game's close. But also Texas, whenever everybody says they're back, they always like the last decade seem to just lay an egg. So who says Baylor can't be the egg?
Me, I say it.
I
Sorry,
mean, we
guys.
did think Baylor was gonna get wrecked by Utah after week one, and
Yeah. And
they
everyone
didn't.
know that I have a vested interest in Baylor. If you forget, I work there.
Yeah, I mentioned that on the TikTok live today because a couple people are like, "Oh, are you breaking those boxes?" I'm like, "No, this is mine. I just have a product on the screen. Dr. D's in Texas. He'll be doing what's pinned." Yes, I did call you Dr. D. Good
Darn
sir.
straight you did.
Oh, that's never happened
That's funny.
All right, so that puts a bow on this show on our Tuesday edition. Our first, yeah, because we started this after football season. Our first post NFL week show on Tuesday night. Uh, Friday will be our prediction show for the weekend. We'll always talk some video games. We had some good Starfield talk mixed in there at the end. Hopefully by next week we'll be able to talk about Baldur's Gate.
Hmm.
But for Corey Duncan, Dr. D, I am Lawrence Foster. Thanks everybody for stopping by. Have a great night and go Bills.
Josh, I love you. Go Bills.